We have the next speaker up is Bill O'Brien. Bill, Speaker of the House. You've heard a lot of scary stuff about Bill. I heard he was like 9 feet tall and had fangs and
he used to be a 6 feet.
Crazy salutes, but here he is, Bill O'Brien, the scary Speaker of the House.
Ever know Bill?
Thank you, Ed. And Ed, these are always great events. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting these on. You know, in concluding his third State of the Union speech, Ronald Reagan gave us a guide for the never-ending battle for freedom. He said, let's be sure that those who come after will say that in our time, we did everything that could be done. We finished the race. We kept them free. We kept the faith. The great communicator also warned us that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. In our time, in this legislative term in New Hampshire and Concord, there are those among us who have done what we could. We cut state spending by 18% because the overspenders had left us almost a $900 million deficit. We did not raise one tax or one fee, but instead we eliminated taxes, including the auto registration charge, the gambling income tax, and the tax on internet services. And we reduced over 20 other taxes and fees that the spenders had left us when they increased over 100 new taxes. We gave local governments the right to impose spending caps because politicians in black robes had taken that option from the people. We eliminated the mandatory evergreen clause in labor contracts because union bosses were using them to command more and more public resources. We blocked the state from implementing Obamacare exchanges and returned $1 million to the federal government with instructions to pay down the federal deficit because the central government is destroying federalism and spending us into poverty. We outlawed New Hampshire's participation in a low-carbon fuel cap and trade regime because the environmental extremists are destroying the economic vitality of our state and our country. We passed a voter ID law and a bill telling the AG to regularly report to the legislature on complaints, election law complaints, because the out-of-staters are taking away our votes and the AG's office will do nothing about it. We passed laws requiring that state spending information and contracts be put online and allowing the recording of police officers on duty because we have a right to know what our government is spending and what our government is doing. We have started the process of giving parents and children school choice by passing a private school tuition credit bill. And we did that because we know there is one certain solution to our failing state schools, and that's competition. We have given you each the option this November of passing a constitutional amendment outlining an income tax. And we did it because we know that big governments would rob us of our wealth and our freedoms. But we've not done everything, in Ronald Reagan's words, everything that could be done. We've not finished the race. The finish line is in the distance, far away enough that in New Hampshire, in our country, freedom cannot be lost this time in just one generation, but it can be lost in the next election. Extinction is one election away. Will we allow the spenders and their big government elitists to take away our freedoms and hard-earned property? Will we allow them to use the rhetoric of class conflict to win their elections while destroying our culture? Or will we keep the faith as Ronald Reagan asked us to? Will we continue to bring government back to its essential purpose of protecting freedoms and not assuming that every problem has a government solution, whether the problem is real or imagined? Our answer, the answer of this legislature, the answer of the next legislature has been that we're going to pass on to our children the freedom that was given to us. Will you join us? Will you keep the faith? Will you be there in November? Thank you. We need you. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks for all the stuff you put up with from those Democrats and the press. And thank you for not letting the Concord Monitor in that meeting. You know, when a CNHT photographer can't take pictures at a deliberative session, where was the Concord Monitor? Suddenly they're all upset. You know, they put Nazi mustaches on people and then they're upset. Hey,
GrokTV.